We're stepping into a Kennedy half dollar. That raises the bar even higher. This coin has mystery, history, and value all wrapped into a piece that many people once overlooked. To truly understand it, we have to go back to a very unusual year, 1967. The United States was going through a difficult time. Trust in money was shaky, and silver coins were disappearing fast as people quietly saved them. In the middle of this uncertainty, the 1967 Kennedy half dollar was minted. Even in fine condition, this coin carries more than just silver and metal. It carries a story, a moment in history. When ordinary coins became something special, one thing immediately sets it apart. In 1967, the U.S. Mint removed all mint marks. There were no D's, no S's, no P's, just a blank space. The intention was to discourage hoarding and keep coins in circulation, but the decision unintentionally created confusion and rarity. A coin with no mint mark might seem ordinary at first, but collectors quickly learned that some of these quietly unusual coins could be extremely valuable. Look at the obverse in fine condition. Kennedy's profile still shows strength and dignity. His hair is worn but remains clearly defined. The cheek, eye, and jawline are visible and balanced. The wear is even and honest, showing that this coin lived a real life in circulation but survived intact. Experts call this honest circulation, a mark of a coin that has history but hasn't been damaged carelessly. Turn it over, and the eagle on the reverse still commands attention. The wings are softened from handling, but the feather lines remain visible. The shield is clear enough to admire. Every detail tells collectors that this coin wasn't tossed aside, it survived a chaotic time and still carries its story in the metal. Now here's where the 1967 Kennedy half dollar becomes exciting. This coin contains 40% silver material that was disappearing fast from circulation. People were saving silver coins, and the mint was struggling to keep up with production. Dies were used longer than they should have been. Quality checks were rushed, and errors began to appear. Some coins showed die cracks, bold lines running through the design. Others displayed doubling in the date or lettering. Some have uneven striking, where one side looks soft and the other sharply defined. There are even examples of off-center strikes or clipped silver blanks that should never have reached circulation. In fine condition, these errors stand out clearly, and collectors notice immediately. A regular 1967 Kennedy half dollar, in fine condition, is already worth more than face value because of its silver content. But when you find a verified error or unusual die variety, the value rises quickly. Prices can jump into thousands of dollars, and for coins in higher grades with strong features, the numbers can reach tens of thousands. Then there are the rare giants, the coins that leave collectors speechless. A very small number of 1967 Kennedy half dollars exist with exceptional visual appeal. Deep mirrored surfaces, multiple errors combined, preservation so strong that it almost feels unreal. These coins rarely appear for sale, and when they do, collectors act fast. At major auctions and through documented private sales, elite 1967 Kennedy half dollars have sold for $180,000 and higher. In private circles, confirmed reports suggest that extraordinary specimens can reach well into the high six-figure range. When silver purity, condition, and rare errors come together perfectly, even a coin that looks plain can become life-changing. What makes this coin so dangerous to ignore is how ordinary it appears. No mint mark, no flashy date, no striking design element that screams rare. It blends in, and that's why so many were overlooked for decades. So if you own a 1967 Kennedy half dollar in fine condition, don't rush past it. Check the edge for silver. Examine the lettering under magnification. Look for cracks, doubling, or unusual surface textures. Even a quiet, dark tone, or lightly worn coin from this year could be hiding a remarkable story and a potential six-figure value. And just when you think the silver era Kennedy surprises are over, the next coin on our list raises the stakes even higher, proving that rarity and collector value can appear in the most unexpected places. We're focusing on the 1776 to 1976 bicentennial Kennedy half dollar, a coin created to celebrate America's 200th birthday. Holding one of these coins is more than just holding metal, it's holding a story. The nation celebrated its bicentennial in 1976 with parades, fireworks, and a renewed sense of pride. The Mint wanted to honor that moment, and the bicentennial Kennedy half dollar became part of that celebration. Unlike regular coins, it carries a dual date 1776 to 1976, marking a once-in-history milestone. That dual date alone makes it instantly recognizable and historically significant. On the obverse, you'll see John F. Kennedy's familiar profile. Even decades after it was first designed, his calm and dignified face still commands attention. But it's the date that sets the coin apart. For the first and only time in U.S. history, circulating coins carried two dates to celebrate a national milestone. The reverse also differs from the usual eagle design. It depicts Independence Hall, one of the most important buildings in American history. Every detail from the windows to the tower represents freedom, sacrifice, and the foundation of the nation. For Americans who lived through the bicentennial, these coins are more than currency. They are memory and pride frozen in metal. Now let's talk about condition, because this is where collector interest skyrockets. Most bicentennial Kennedy half dollars were circulated and show where today's scratches, dulling, dark spots, and blackened or rusty toning are common. A coin like this may look ordinary, even damaged, and many people ignore them completely. But condition matters more than most people realize. Coins in extra fine condition still show the fine details of Kennedy's hair, cheek, and jawline. On the reverse, the lines and structure of Independence Hall remain sharp. Even a small difference in detail can increase the coin's value by hundreds or thousands of dollars. Beyond condition, metal composition is key. Some bicentennial halves were made with 40% silver, mainly for collector's sets. These silver coins are smaller in number than the standard copper-nickel coins and are highly sought after. If a silver coin survives in extra fine or uncirculated condition, it can already fetch strong three-figure or low four-figure prices. Uncirculated coins, especially those with proof-like surfaces or mirror finishes, bring even higher interest. Add in a minting error like doubling of letters, date anomalies, or a coin struck on the wrong metal, and suddenly, a simple half dollar can become a major discovery. Errors make collectors pay attention. Some bicentennial halves were struck more than once or display unusual mirroring that was never intended for circulation. Others feel slightly off in weight or design, making them instantly noticeable to an experienced eye. Even if a coin shows where black toning or light scratches, a rare error can still push its value dramatically higher. That is why coins that might seem ordinary in hand can suddenly be worth tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. In fact, top-grade bicentennial Kennedy half dollars with extraordinary strikes or major errors have sold for $240,000 or more at auction. In one famous private sale, a flawless error example reportedly reached deep into six figures, shocking collectors who assumed modern coins could never reach such heights. These sales are real, verified results, not estimates, and they prove that rarity, condition, and history combined can make even a modern coin a life-changing treasure. Most circulated bicentennial have, however, are still worth around face value. They may be black-toned, darkened, or show heavy wear, but the key is knowing what to look for. Examine the date carefully. Check for silver content by weight. Study the details of Independence Hall and Kennedy's profile. Look for unusual features, errors, or extra sharp strike quality. Even minor differences can separate a standard coin from a collector gem. So if you own a 1776 to 1976 bicentennial Kennedy half dollar, don't dismiss it, especially if it looks different or well-preserved. These coins are more than pocket change. They are part of America's history, and some are worth far more than most people earn in years. The story of these coins reminds collectors that even something seemingly ordinary can hold extraordinary value. And just when you think the bicentennial Kennedy half dollar has shown its full potential, the next coin we're about to explore takes rarity and mystery to a whole new level. Coming up next is a Kennedy half dollar that completely redefined what collectors consider valuable, proving that modern coins can be just as exciting as the classics. Next up, we move on to a coin that has quietly amazed even the most seasoned experts and left collectors eager to add it to their collections. It doesn't announce itself with flashy silver or bold markings. In fact, it's almost invisible to the casual eye. But that very quiet nature is exactly what gives the 1974 Kennedy half dollar its hidden power. At first glance, a 1974 Kennedy half dollar in extra fine condition may look unremarkable. There's no silver shine, no anniversary marking, and nothing that immediately suggests it could be valuable. Yet among experienced collectors, this year has earned a reputation as a sleeper coin, one that holds surprise and potential for those who know what to look for. Examine the obverse carefully. Kennedy's hair remains well defined, especially along the part and above the ear. His cheek retains its original shape, showing only light and even wear. The lettering around the edge, Liberty. Indiana, God we trust. The date remains bold and legible, evenly struck. These details are a strong signal that this coin avoided heavy circulation and was preserved with care. Flip it over, and the eagle on the reverse still stands firm and commanding. The feathers, though slightly softened, are clear. The shield's lines remain crisp, and the arrows and olive branch display depth and balance. Coins like this, with strong strike quality and eye appeal, are rare for this year, and these features often matter more to collectors than most people realize. The story becomes even more interesting when you consider the context. By 1974, Kennedy half dollars were no longer commonly used in daily transactions. Banks seldom ordered them, and cashiers often avoided handling them. Many of these coins went directly into storage rolls or bags, frequently scratched, bumped, or poorly stored. As a result, truly clean examples in extra fine condition are far scarcer than the total mintage might suggest. And scarcity is just the beginning. Some 1974 Kennedy half dollars were struck with unusually sharp detail and slightly reflective surfaces, giving them a near-proof look even though they were never intended as proof coins. Others exhibit subtle but noticeable double dies, often in the word Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, or the date. These double dies are easy to miss, which is why many of them went unnoticed for decades. Then there are the real standout errors. A small number of 1,974 halves were struck off-center, on the wrong metal blanks, or with partial collar errors that distort the rim and thickness. These mistakes are bold, unmistakable, and extremely rare. When one appears in extra fine or better condition, collectors don't hesitate, they compete fiercely to acquire it. For the average circulated coin, a 1974 Kennedy half dollar might only bring a modest premium over face value. But in extra fine condition, with strong strike quality, values can rise into the hundreds or low thousands of dollars, move into near uncirculated condition, and prices climb further, sometimes reaching tens of thousands of dollars for the most exceptional examples. The real shock, however, comes from the rare survivors. Authenticated 1974 Kennedy half dollars with dramatic mint errors, flawless surfaces, and unique characteristics have sold for $230,000 or more in documented high-end auctions. Within elite collector circles, private sales of exceptional specimens have reportedly reached deep into the high six-figure range, astonishing experts who once assumed this date was ordinary. What makes the 1974 Kennedy half dollar so fascinating is its quiet disguise. There is no silver, no special celebration, and no obvious indication that it might be rare. It blends seamlessly with common coins until the right person examines it closely. The thrill is in discovery, the realization that something ordinary can hold extraordinary value. If you own a 1974 Kennedy half dollar in extra fine condition, don't dismiss it. Take your time. Study the surfaces for reflective qualities. Check the lettering for doubling. Feel the weight, and even gently tap it to hear its tone. Every small detail matters, because hidden in a coin that looks ordinary could be one of the most surprising finds in your entire collection. And with that, we reach the end of today's journey through hidden Kennedy half dollar treasures. Remember, history doesn't announce itself. It waits quietly in drawers, boxes, and old collections until someone curious and careful, like you, decides to look closer. Next up, let's take a closer look at the 1971 Kennedy half dollar coin that doesn't demand attention at first glance. At first, it might seem ordinary, even forgettable. It doesn't shine like gold, and it doesn't carry silver anymore. But appearances can be misleading. The 1971 Kennedy half quietly changed American coinage forever, and the example you're seeing in fine condition may be far more important than most people realize. The year 1971 was a turning point. For the first time, Kennedy half dollars made for everyday circulation contained no silver at all. After years of coins with precious metal, the mint fully switched to a copper-nickel-clad design. Many collectors lost interest almost immediately. Some put the coins aside and forgot them. But that lack of attention is exactly what makes certain 1971 coins rare and valuable today, because unusual examples slip through unnoticed. In fine condition, this coin still shows Kennedy's portrait with clarity. The hair is worn but still recognizable. His eye, nose, and jawline remain easy to see. The wear is even and honest, the kind that tells a story of real use without destroying the design. This is not a damaged coin. It's a survivor. Every scratch, every worn area tells us this coin lived a real life in circulation, yet came through intact. Flip it over, and the eagle on the reverse still stands strong. The feathers may be softer, but the shield lines remain legible. Even with wear, the overall design tells collectors that the coin is authentic and trustworthy. That history adds value, because every detail shows it survived a decade of handling. Here's where things get especially interesting. 1971 was a transition year, and with change comes mistakes. The mint was adjusting to new metals, tighter production schedules, and higher demand than ever before. Mistakes happened, And in the world of coins, mistakes can create incredible value. Some 1971 half dollars show clear doubling in the date or lettering, which becomes obvious under magnification. Others have uneven strikes, where one side is sharp and the other faint. These irregularities are clues that something unusual happened during production. There are also examples of off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and coins struck on improperly prepared metal. In fine condition, these errors are easier to spot because the wear hasn't completely flattened the design. Collectors know how to look for them, and these coins often fetch far more than standard examples. A regular 1971 Kennedy half in fine condition might only sell for a small premium above face value. But add a verified error, rare die variety, or unusual strike, and the value jumps. First into thousands of dollars, then into the tens of thousands. And for the coins that truly stand out, values become astonishing. A very small number of 1971 Kennedy half dollars were struck with exceptional detail, sharp features, and almost proof-like surfaces, even though they were intended for circulation. These coins confuse experts because they blur the line between everyday coins and special collector pieces. When graded and authenticated, some of these rare examples have sold at auction for $230,000 or more. In private sales, the very best specimens have reportedly reached even higher, into the high six-figure range numbers that would surprise even seasoned collectors. What makes this coin so fascinating is how easily it hides. Millions were minted. Millions were spent. Most were saved carelessly, tucked away in drawers, or mixed into coin rolls. Only a tiny fraction survived with a perfect combination of condition, error, and uniqueness that serious collectors search for. So if you own a 1971 Kennedy half dollar in fine condition, don't overlook it. Hold it under the light. Examine the date, the lettering, the rims, and the surface. Check for doubling, uneven strikes, or unusual toning. Even dark or lightly worn coins could hide an error worth far more than most people imagine, potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars. And just when you think the 1971 Kennedy half dollar has shown its full potential, the next coin on our list takes rarity and collector value even further. Stay tuned, because what comes next proves that even coins that seem ordinary can become legends in the numismatic world.